Good afternoon. How are you? Well, it's a little overcast. It has been off and on raining, and I'm getting out a break from my work. And Holly's not up to making these walks with me, not yet. And even when she is, she probably won't do it. The thing I noticed being at the hospital a fair amount was how the nurses and doctors would take vital signs to see, in Holly's case, how she was doing. And based on those vital signs, they would be able to draw conclusions about what they should do. And there's usually 17 of them there. And it was quite impressive how brilliant these people were in analyzing the vital signs. Now, I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the vital signs of our once grand democracy. And the vital signs are not good if you think of the body politic. And there is in history parallels with nation states that had these same bad vital signs. So I'm thinking, of course, of the Weimar Republic, which is the German government after World War I. Was a particular distaste that the Treaty at Versailles had been onerous and unfair to Germany, and the government, the Weimar Republic, could not gain support for a variety of reasons. So in America, we have something like that. We have a political discord that is based on lies and disinformation from the Republicans, and the Democrats don't go right to the point of the argument. They shed the definiteness that would answer the charges. So that's one problem, the political discord. And we're seeing it across the country, how basically a criminal is gathering support, and I'll get to that. The next thing that I noticed, and we've all seen, is constitutional weakness. That is, we have provisions in the Constitution that we should act upon, but we have not. And I think we get a bad grade, particularly here, in the sense that no one is forced to account for misconduct constitutionally or lawfully. Indeed, you can even try to overthrow our government, and the worst that you get are stories in the newspapers. No prosecutions, no punishment, no sanctions for what we did. Now, another vital sign, and I don't mean this to be an attack on Biden, but there is a perception and there are signs that we have economic hardship among our people. And that's not a favorable sign for the vitality of a republic. And there is if you will, a socio-cultural thing that's going on. And it's a mix of the liberal versus the right-wing conservative, the Democrat versus the dictatorial, monarchical crowd. And so we have a very serious division here. And you may remember from your studies what happened to the Weimar Republic. A guy named Hitler tried to attack them. And when I was going to go to law school the summer between undergraduate at Columbia and law school, I went to England, bought a motorcycle, and did the continent. And I went to Munich, among other places, München, Germany, and I wanted to see where Hitler held his speeches, which he learned from a number of people who were like-minded with him and against the Weimar Republic. And so I went to the Hofbrauhaus, and I don't know if that was one of the ones or not. Of course, they say they were. And it was a huge room. Well, Hitler tried to overthrow the government in a putsch, And as a result, he was tried, he was convicted, he was sentenced to 5 years, and he went to prison. But it was a very soft prison, and from prison, he wrote his book, Mein Kampf, and he got out after 1 year. And from that point on, he decided that he could use the laws rather than power and violence to take over the government, and he did. You see any parallels here? We have a failed attempt by Trump to take over our government. He failed. We haven't prosecuted him as the Germans did prosecute Hitler. And he is gathering some force. And so we're allowing this man of evil, this autocrat, to come back, if you will, maybe sort of like what Hitler did. And this time, they're trying to rewrite the laws across the United States. And they're trying to stuff the school boards with a whole class of these right-wingers who believe in a monarchical, dictatorial, autocratic government, and what they say goes. So the point of my discourse is we're acting as if we have business as usual when we do not have business as usual. We are acting as if this is a traditional campaign season when it's nothing of the sort. But our government and our so-called leaders can't wrap their mind around the fact that the vital signs of our nation are dangerously close to failure. The fact that we have political discord, hate, violence, constitutional weakness, disrespect for the law, economic hardship, and a socio-cultural chasm that we cannot bridge. And so what we need are leaders with courage. And what does that mean? It means holding those accountable for what they've done. It means bringing the public into the discussion. It means acknowledging what our challenge is and discussing how we deal with it. It means talking about our Supreme Court's failure when it disobeys the law, when the members of the court got there by a corrupt bargain with Trump that they would sell out all the women in America and take away their right of privacy. And we could go on, but you see the point. So am I predicting a terrible outcome in the midterms? Well, first of all, historically, the midterms are not good for the incumbent. And there have been a couple of exceptions. And one was during the Clinton impeachment, in which Democrats actually gained seats during the midterm because the public reacted against what they were doing. I think that the abortion issue and these other issues are rich for leadership to combat the vital signs that are dire. And that if we do not act and we do not think in this fashion, we are compromising, perhaps, for the last remaining days, this democracy, this republic. You know, going back to Benjamin Franklin, you have a republic if you can keep it. And right now, we're not really good managers. We don't even have excusable neglect. We have neglect, we have ignorance of what's going on, and if we're not careful, either this midterm or the presidential election will be the last straight or something like a straight election in the history of our republic. Otherwise, it's really great to have Holly around, even though there are demands, and I'm glad to do what we are doing because we're a check on each other of the delicate nature of medicine and practice and things she can do and not do. So, nice visiting with you. Sorry it's not a happier message, but I just think there's something bigger going on than the daily news breaks that we have to pay attention to and that we're not. So, you know that old thing about Santayana, those who don't study history are doomed to repeat it. Well, didn't work out well for the Weimar Republic, and no, we're not the Weimar Republic, but we are caught in a rhyme, an historic rhyme that feels a lot like that. So All the best. Talk to you tomorrow if I can. Bye-bye.